And another Fire Emblem rep I think might stand a chance of getting in this game would be Sheeta from Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon, Fire Emblem Heroes of Light and Shadow. She's one of the original Fire Emblem characters. She's basically like a side character to Marth in his games. And she's a good choice for a female rep, and she basically, it would be like adding a choice from Marth's other games. It wouldn't be, it'd be like, instead of giving like a random character a rep, like, you know, just like going and maybe instead of giving an older, like a newer character, like from the one of the newer games, maybe if they wanted to go and give Marth a second character, I think she'd kind of make some sense. But I'd say the possibility is good based off her status and her being one of the original side characters and would be like right there to accompany Marth. I think she's not very good because I think her fighting style would hinder her more than anything. Because she's actually like a Pegasus Knight, so it'd be kind of like her as like her on a big Pegasus flying through the stage. So it'd be kind of maybe hard to hit her unless you could also hit the Pegasus or something. I don't know. It's like, I think the possibility that's a little, like, not 100% likely. I'd say good, but on the verge of maybe being average, but not nowhere near very good. But nowhere near very, very bad, like very unlikely. Then we get to another possibility for a retro character, and that would be the Sheriff from, in fact, he's a retro character. He's from a 1979 arcade game by the same name, Sheriff, which is basically like a little game where you walk around and you shoot. You're like a little sheriff guy, and you run around and shoot little bandits or whatever. It would be, and I think it would be like, he'd be like one of the better, like a good retro character to play in, because I think they would probably find it cool to actually go very old school with one of their characters, one of their retro characters, like going very old school, like older than like Game & Watch and stuff like that, and older than like Rob and everything. You know, this would be like one of their, basically their oldest character, and I think it'd be interesting if they wanted to go that old. And he'd have interesting moves because he's a sheriff. They have the lasso, you have the little gun. But the possibility is unlikely because I don't think they would really want to go through with him. But I think he has a slim of a chance. You never know. Possibly. But that's also why I would say possibility unlikely. The next character I'm going to talk about will be Siegfried, who is also from the Soulcalibur series. There are Soulcalibur Legends on the Wii. He's important to Soulcalibur, especially the fact that he used to be Nightmare. Like, Nightmare now in the series is separated from him, but he used to be Nightmare. And he fits into fighting games because it's Soulcalibur and they fight. But like I said, the possibility of him is also unlikely because, like I said, I really don't see Tekken or Soulcalibur getting a character. They have a possibility, but I think if Namco gets a character, it would most likely be Pac-Man or someone from Tales, like Lloyd or someone. Or even Luke from like the Tales of the Abyss 3D, or something like that. But I see it, but it's like the top 5. I still see the possibility of the franchise they would use as a character, but not top 3. Like top 4 and 5 would basically be like Tekken and Soulcalibur. So I don't really, I say possibility is unlikely, but if they did put him in there, it'd be kind of like a way of putting like him in Nightmare in there because they could fit the same spot and be alternate characters of each other because they're technically the same character anyways. Another Star Fox character I could see having the potential of getting in there would be Slippy, because of Star Fox 64 3D on the 3DS. He's been in the series since the beginning. He could be different compared to, you know, Fox and Falcon, especially Wolf. Just like I said, the Peppy. He is sort of popular. People do kind of like him, but there's also a lot of people that kind of hate him. So he might be a double-edged sword if they decide to put, you know, Slippy in there. And he also, like you said, he's been in the series since the beginning. He's been in the Star Fox team since the beginning. Even when Peppy left, he was still technically there. And I think he eventually left too. I'm not totally sure about that. I haven't kept up to like how this team eventually went on in the later games. But he was there in Star Fox 64 3D, and I think that's where they would potentially pull him from. And they'd also potentially pull him also from Star Fox Command on the DS. Like I said, possibility unlikely. Then we get on to Sora from the Kingdom Hearts series. Now, I think Kingdom Hearts would be one of the top series I think Square Enix would pull a character from if they decide to want to actually use a character. You know, to get a character in there, if they actually want to put a character in the Smash Bros. 4. I think one of those would be it. Final Fantasy, basically Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, or Kingdom Hearts. But if Kingdom Hearts actually did get a character, Sora's the only one that really makes the most sense because he is the main character of the series. Even though he's not the main character of all the games, he's basically the main character of the series overall. Kingdom Hearts is now starting to make its way real big onto Nintendo. They're basically, the DS got 2 of them, 350 over 2 days, which even though it did not have, Sora, it was still a representation, a good way to rep the series, basically Kingdom Hearts in general. And also there was Recoded, which Sora was the main character of, and Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance now on the 3DS, which Sora is one of the 2 main characters in that game alongside Riku. I think his possibility is average. I wouldn't say he's one of the top Square characters they're going to want to get into the game, but I could possibly see it. Then we get on to another Nintendo character in Starfy. Now, Starfy was an assist trophy in Brawl. There was the legendary Starfy game on the DS, and I don't know if there's any other games or not, but the series actually has been around for a while, but just now, recently has been, I think, localized. I think there's older games, but I think they only recently got localized. Not fully sure. I didn't go and look into that so much. He's old enough to be around for a while, but still new enough to be like recent. He has fighting potential because it's like a platform game, and you kind of have he's a starfish, and he can beat people up and do all this little underwater attacks and everything. And he's a pretty well liked character. There's quite a bit of people that actually like him, but I say the possibility is average because he's kind of a good choice, but also kind of not. Like he's has a better chance, I think, than some characters, especially since he's recent and he has popularity and he makes sense overall. But I think there's a lot of other characters that make a whole lot more sense than him that were on the Wii and DS. So I say possibility average. Then we get on to Shulk from Xenoblade Chronicles. Now, Xenoblade Chronicles was a new Nintendo IP this generation, made by Microsoft and published by Nintendo. It is a new Nintendo IP, and basically it's one of their big new Nintendo IPs that came from this generation. I'd say if it was like a top 5 list of the new Nintendo IPs that came out of the Wii and DS generation, I would definitely probably put Xenoblade, if not in the top 3, if not number 1, it'd probably be top 3. And he's the main character of it, so if it got a representation, I would assume he would be in there. And it's basically the Monado, which the whole game is basically set around. It's like a legendary sword that could do magical abilities. It would make up for a good moveset. It would make him different than a typical sword user, like a Fire Emblem one, or someone like that. He'd be in the group of like Matthew and Issa and Girahim as like unique sword users, kind of a thing. I'd say the possibility of Shulkin would be very good because I think they're going to want to get a character from Xenoblade Chronicles in there, based off especially how popular it is, especially America, working in Operation Rainfall to get that game. Then we get on to Sukapone. He's a retro character from a game called Mech Fight, which I think was on the NES, I'm not fully sure, but it is Japan exclusive, so he'd fit into the vein of like a Lucas or like a Roy if they wanted to put in an exclusive Japanese character, and he could easily be there for like the unique Japanese-only random character, because it's like a fighting game series. Like Mech Fight's like a fighting game. I don't know if it's a series or not, but I don't know if it turned into later games or not, but yeah, but I'd say the possibility of him is unlikely because it's a very, very random choice, and I think they could find a lot of other retro characters that stand a big, better chance than him. Maybe assist trophy, I don't know. Maybe even a normal trophy too. I think a lot of characters should be trophies. They should have a million trophies in this game, and a lot of assist trophies too. Then we get on to another Namco character in the Susumu Hori from the Dig Dug series. I'm sorry if I pronounced that one wrong. There was a DS Dig Dug game, I don't know the exact name of it. And Dig Dug is one of their legendary franchises, one of Namco's legendary franchises, and it could be a good older representation for a third-party rep if Namco wanted to get it. And his moveset could be pretty good with his like all the techniques that the character from Dig Dug does. Possibility unlikely though, because I think he might make a little more sense than like a Tekken character or a Soulcalibur character, but I think a Tails character and Pac-Man make a lot more sense, and I think a lot of people believe that. So maybe assist trophy. Then we get on to Sylux from Metroid Prime 3. He'd be another potential Metroid Prime character alongside that Grandradia. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing her name wrong. He's basically like a big part of Prime 3. He's like a villain rep. He's played a big part in the series. Like in that game, he was a boss battle. And he would be different than Samus, like every other character I named, like Ridley and like Adam and everything, but I kind of put him in the same category as Grandradia and like, you know, like Anthony Higgs. Like, I don't think he stands much of a chance. He's the bounty hunter character, and he'd be way different than Samus, but assist trophy status more unlikely because I think Adam or Ridley make a lot more sense, especially since they're more history with the series. Especially Ridley, but you know, especially Adam because he's been around a while too. And how big a role he played Other M. Possibility average. Then we get on to Takamaru. Now, he'd be a retro character from a Japan exclusive game called, don't kill me for blowing this name out of like pronouncing it, Nazo no Murasame Jo. He'd be like the samurai character, which as a sword type user is new, and some people say, oh, they'd rather have Samurai Goro like that. No, Takamaru is a natural samurai. He makes a lot more sense, and also Samurai Goro really want to make it in there because we haven't had a new F-Zero in forever, so the chance of a new F-Zero character, regardless of who they are, is zilch more than likely unless we get a very, very, very early Wii U game or a 3DS game soon. But he'd make more sense because he actually is a natural-born samurai. He's a samurai character. And along with the fact that Takamaru's game is being represented in Nintendo Land on the Wii U. His game is getting one of the parts of the park in Nintendo Land. So they're bringing the name of the character back, and potentially he could ever get a new character. He could eventually get a new game, and that could also come from the fact that they might want to put him into, I'd say, you know, Smash Bros. 4. And I'd say his possibility is average because he's actually kind of big. Like, he actually has history. He's a Japan exclusive, which they seem to always like to put those in there. He'd be a retro Japan exclusive. And it's kind of like advertising for Nintendo Land and advertising possibly for a new game. The next character I'm going to basically go into talk about would be another Zelda potential character. That's going to be Tingle. Now, Tingle's has history with the series. He's been around since Majora's Mask on the N64, and he did have, I think, like 2 or 3 games on the DS, all of which are only in Japan. Tingle's Balloon Fight, Arazuki Tingle no Koi no Balloon Trip, Freshly Pickled Tingle's Rosy Rupiel, and I don't know. Yeah, basically French like that. Those games right there. And he's actually a pretty popular character, at least in Japan. So they might go and do like a character that might possibly be popular only in Japan, because I don't think many other countries really like Tingle. I don't think anywhere but Japan really likes Tingle all that much. I think he's okay, but I don't see him as a potential character. I'd say a possibility unlikely, because instead of just adding a random character that's like a very, very side character since he came in, he's been a side character since he came in. Instead of adding like a side character, they're going to probably want to put in another hero, especially another villain, like a Girahim or something. I could see Tingle as an assist trophy, a trophy, stage, whatever. Not a character so much. Unless they wanted to pull a popular character in Japan character, and that would be a little too much because they always seem to do that. Actually, no, they don't really, but they do it here and there.